All right, so you want to unlock the secrets of ancient Chinese statecraft.
Well, we found a pretty good key.
It's the art of war, Master Taigong,
Yeah.
but not the usual battle tactic stuff.
Right.
We went deep into Chapter 2, strategic wisdom, rise and fall, and
Right.
it's all about what makes societies tick, you know?
Why they thrive.
Why they fall apart.
Why they experience order.
Or chaos.
Yeah, some of the insights are unbelievably relevant even today.
Right.
It's amazing. It's like we're time traveling back to ancient China.
Totally.
Like we're eavesdropping on King Wen and the legendary strategist Zhou Taigong.
Oh, this is good. I love this part.
King Wen's like, hey, why do some societies do so well and others, just fall apart?
Yeah, classic question.
Right. Like, is it all about the leader or is it just history's natural flow?
Is it fate?
Yeah.
I mean, imagine you're King Wen, right? Sitting there with Taigong,
Yeah.
hoping to get some wisdom.
Master strategist.
And Taigong doesn't mess around. He's like,
He drops a truth bomb.
a bad ruler.
Total danger to the state.
Mm-mm.
Throws everything into chaos.
But a wise, virtuous ruler, though.
No, that brings security.
Good governance.
He's putting it all on the leader's shoulders, not on outside stuff.
That's a lot of pressure.
It is. And remember, the art of war wasn't just theory for Taigong.
Oh, right. He lived it.
This guy was King Wen's strategist when they established the Zhou Dynasty.
Whoa, so he knew his stuff.
Yeah, he was talking from experience.
So King Wen's hooked, right?
Of course.
Wants examples.
And Taigong's like, all right, let me tell you about Emperor Yao.
The OG virtuous leader.
The shining example.
So what's Taigong's take on Emperor Yao's reign?
Well, it wasn't what you'd expect. No gold, no fancy silks.
Simple life.
Super simple. Even his palaces were modest.
So he was making a statement.
Like true power comes from character, not bling.
Pretty radical for a ruler, right?
Totally. And it wasn't just for show. Taigong says Emperor Yao was truly dedicated to his people. He made sure they weren't overworked.
So they could focus on the essentials.
Of farming, weaving, that kind of stuff. He understood that a society thrives when its people can meet their basic needs.
Without being totally burdened.
Yeah, exactly.
It's about balance, sustainability.
The foundation for a good life.
And then he takes it even further.
Oh, yeah.
Creates a system of governance.
It's all based on fairness.
Rewarding good people.
Loyal officials.
Honest citizens.
Those were his VIPs.
He knew that was key for a healthy society. Positive values.
What's really fascinating is how Taigong highlights the actions.
Not just talk.
Right. Emperor Yao actively rewarded things like filial piety.
Kindness. Hard work.
Didn't matter how small.
It was like he was saying, hey, every single person matters.
Your efforts are valued.
Not about favorites.
Everyone has a shot.
Exactly.
A chance to thrive.
And think about it. In a society where everyone feels valued.
What happens? Shared purpose.
Yeah.
Shared responsibility. It holds everything together.
Right. So we've got this leader who lives simply.
Priorities are straight.
Fosters fairness.
Yep.
But there's more.
Oh, yeah.
Taigong is very clear that Emperor Yao was deeply committed to justice.
Impartiality.
No playing favorites.
Huge.
Even for us today.
This is where it gets really interesting. Taigong tells us, even if Emperor Yao dislikes someone, if they did good, rewarded.
Even if he likes someone.
They messed up, consequences.
No exception.
No way.
He was setting the bar high.
Nobody's above the law, not even my buddies.
Wow. Talk about leading by example.
Powerful message, right?
For anyone with power.
Totally. It's about integrity.
But it wasn't just about being tough.
No.
Emperor Yao also had a ton of compassion.
Especially for those in need.
He went out of his way to care for widows.
Orphans.
Anyone isolated or struggling.
Right.
Made sure families hit by tough times got support.
Maybe a natural disaster, something like that.
He understood that a truly strong society takes care of its most vulnerable.
It wasn't just charity,
What was it?
It was about community.
Yeah.
Shared responsibility. Recognizing that we all have a role to play in supporting each other.
Especially in tough times.
Yeah.
This all paints a pretty amazing picture of Emperor Yao's leadership.
Remarkable.
So what were the results?
Taigong says the results of Emperor Yao's wise rule were abundant.
Abundant like how?
He describes a society where people are prosperous,
happy,
content, free from hunger and cold. They revere their ruler like the sun and moon and love him like their own parents.
Wait, hold on. Love him? Like, really?
That's what Taigong's saying. That's the ultimate sign of a successful ruler, earning genuine love and respect. It speaks to the power of leadership rooted in virtue, compassion, and genuine care for people.
That's powerful stuff. But was this idea of a ruler's impact, was that like a uniquely Chinese thing?
Not at all. It echoes the mandate of heaven, actually.
It's a mandate of heaven.
This idea that a ruler's right to rule is directly tied to their virtue.
So if they're not virtuous...
They could lose the mandate. Rebellion, natural disasters, who knows?
Whoa, talk about pressure. So are we saying that a leader's morality is the only thing that matters for a society to succeed or fail?
Well, no, it's more nuanced than that. There's economics, social structures, external threats. It's complicated.
Yeah.
But Taigong is highlighting the leader's impact.
For good or for bad?
Exactly. Their values, decisions, they all shape the culture and ultimately the destiny of their people.
This makes you wonder what Emperor Yao would think of our world today.
Right.
It's so complex.
It's fast-paced.
Would his principles still apply?
That's the question, isn't it?
I mean, times have changed, but...
But have they really?
People still want the same things.
Security, fairness, a sense of purpose. Leaders who get that, who inspire, who unite.
Those are the ones who make it different.
Exactly. It's like we're talking about two different kinds of leadership.
What do you mean?
You've got those focused on control.
Power.
Resources for themselves.
Wow.
And then you've got the ones who see leadership as service.
Empowering others.
Creating the conditions for everyone to thrive.
That's a good point. It seems like Taigong, through Emperor Yao, is pushing for that second type.
Right. It's not about ruling with an iron fist.
But about leading by example.
Setting a moral compass.
Inspiring others to follow.
Yeah.
But how do you actually do that?
Right.
It's easy to talk about virtue and compassion.
But the real world is messy.
Leaders face tough choices. How do you stay true to these principles when you've got limited resources?
Political pressure.
The temptation to compromise.
That's the challenge, isn't it?
It is.
And I think Taigong would say it starts with you.
You. Like personally.
Self-cultivation.
Right.
A leader needs to build their own virtue, their own sense of justice and compassion. Then they can guide others.
Embody the values you want to see.
That's it.
So speeches and policies aren't enough.
Nope.
You have to live it.
Every single day. Aligning your actions with your words. It's a lifelong journey, not a finish line.
Constant work.
Reflection.
Being open to feedback.
Yeah.
It's like a martial art.
Oh, I like that.
You're always training.
Honing your skills.
Becoming better.
Yeah, and just like in martial arts, you're going to get knocked down sometimes.
But you gotta get back up.
Learn from the mistakes.
Keep going.
That's it.
And that's another point, right? Leadership isn't about being perfect.
Nope, no way.
It's about having the guts to say, I messed up.
Being willing to learn from it.
And keep pushing for excellence.
So, did Emperor Yao ever make mistakes? With all his wisdom and virtue?
Good question.
Taigong doesn't explicitly say. It's implied. Nobody's perfect.
Even the best leaders face challenges.
Setbacks. What makes them great is how they respond.
Double down on the mistake.
Or learn and grow.
This is interesting. Leadership isn't just about having all the answers.
Being the smartest.
It's about being able to keep going.
When things are tough.
Adapt, learn, grow.
With the people you lead.
And inspire others to do the same.
Exactly.
Taigong talks about how Emperor Yao created a society where people were
prosperous,
content, connected to their community.
They weren't just sitting back and enjoying things.
They were active.
Contributing to the common good.
So it's a two-way street.
It is. The leader inspires the people, and the people inspire the leader.
It's like a beautiful cycle.
It really is. It highlights the power of leadership based on service, compassion, and understanding human nature.
Okay, but all this talk about virtue and self-cultivation,
yeah,
it's a little overwhelming. Where do you even start?
That's a good question.
How do you know you're on the right track?
Well, Taigong doesn't give a step-by-step.
Right.
But he does give some insights. Self-reflection is key.
Yeah, honestly, assess yourself.
Strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
Be open to feedback.
Okay, so it's not about becoming perfect overnight.
Oh.
It's about being a little bit better each day.
That's it. Be more mindful.
More compassionate.
More dedicated to the greater good.
And remember, leadership isn't a destination.
It's a journey.
There will be bumps.
But you keep moving forward.
Keep learning.
Keep striving for those values.
That's inspiring, but also a little intimidating.
How so?
Like, I want to be this amazing leader.
Yeah.
But how do I measure up to someone like Emperor Yao?
It's important to remember that Emperor Yao is an archetype.
Like the ideal.
The best of the best.
Okay.
The goal isn't to be his clone.
Right.
It's to draw inspiration.
Find ways to apply those principles in our own lives.
In our own way.
So find our own path to leadership.
One that's true to you and what you value.
Strive for excellence, not perfection.
Exactly.
And remember, even small acts of kindness, courage,
they can make a difference.
create positive change.
That brings us back to the art of war.
It's more than just military tactics.
It's about the nature of leadership.
Self-cultivation.
The power of virtue to shape our destinies.
This deep dive has really given me a lot to think about.
It's been quite a journey.
We've learned about Emperor Yao's amazing reign.
The importance of self-cultivation.
And the power of leadership rooted in service and compassion.
And how those principles apply to everyone.
Not just emperors and generals.
Exactly.
I'm feeling energized.
Good.
Inspired.
Nice.
Ready for part 2.
Let's do it. Welcome back. Last time we were talking about Emperor Yao.
His amazing leadership.
As described in The Art of War.
Yeah. How he put his people first.
Governed fairly, justly.
And earned their love and respect.
It's a pretty compelling model.
It really is. And you mentioned this non-action thing.
Oh, right.
How Emperor Yao focused on setting the right conditions.
For people to flourish.
Instead of trying to control every little thing.
It's a tricky concept.
It is. What does that even look like, practically?
Well, Taigong gives us some hints.
Okay.
He says Emperor Yao was careful about who he chose for important positions.
Talented people.
Virtuous people.
So he wasn't a micromanager.
No, he empowered people to lead.
To make decisions in their areas.
Exactly. And this goes along with something else Taigong stresses.
What's that?
Listening to diverse perspectives.
Oh, interesting.
Emperor Yao made it a point to get advice from all sorts of people.
Not just the yes men.
Right. He knew good decisions come from considering different viewpoints.
Weighing the consequences.
Exactly.
It reminds me of that line from The Art of War.
Which one?
Where Taigong says, "A wise general listens to his advisors, weighs their counsel carefully, and then makes a decision based on what is best for the army as a whole."
Perfect example. It shows these leadership principles aren't just for emperors.
They apply to anyone in charge, really.
Leading a team.
Your company.
Even a family.
Being able to listen, delegate.
Make decisions for the good of everyone.
It's crucial.
But let's be honest, it's not always easy to do.
Especially when you're under pressure.
Or you think you know best.
It takes humility to step back and say, maybe I don't have all the answers.
Let's hear what others have to say.
Exactly.
And that's where self-cultivation comes in again.
Right. Always working on yourself.
Refining your character.
Growing as a person.
Cultivating things like humility.
Patience.
Keeping your ego in check.
It's a lifelong process.
It really is.
It's kind of like a martial art.
Ooh, I like that. How so?
You're constantly training.
Honing your skills.
Trying to get better.
And you know, you're going to get knocked down sometimes.
It's like in martial arts.
But you get back up.
Learn from it.
And keep going.
It's about resilience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that brings up another important point.
What's that?
Leadership isn't about being perfect.
No.
No way.
Oh.
It's about having the courage to admit when you're wrong.
And learning from those mistakes.
Always striving to be better.
So, did Emperor Yao, with all his wisdom, ever make mistakes?
Good question.
I mean, nobody's perfect.
Yeah. Taigong doesn't say outright. It's definitely implied. Even the most virtuous people face setbacks. What separates the truly great leaders is how they handle it.
Do they ignore the mistake?
Pretend it didn't happen?
Or do they use it to grow?
To learn.
To become better?
That's the key.
So it's not about always having the right answer.
We're the smartest person in the room.
It's about keeping going even when things are tough.
It's about adapting, learning, growing.
Along with the people you lead.
And inspiring them to do the same.
Right.
Remember how Taigong described Emperor Yao's society?
Prosperous, content.
People connected to their community.
They weren't just passively benefiting.
No, they were actively involved.
That's freebieting.
Engaged.
It's a two-way street.
The leader inspires, the people inspire.
A beautiful cycle.
Exactly. It shows how powerful leadership can be when it's based on service, compassion, and understanding people.
This is all great, but
Boy.
all this talk about virtue, self-cultivation, it can feel kind of overwhelming.
I understand.
Where do you even start? How do you know you're doing it right?
Those are important questions. And Taigong doesn't give us a roadmap.
Right.
But he does emphasize self-reflection.
Looking at yourself honestly.
Gains and weaknesses.
Being open to feedback.
Exactly.
So it's not about becoming a saint overnight.
Definitely not.
It's about making a conscious effort to be better.
every day.
Being more mindful of your actions.
Or compassionate.
More dedicated to doing good.
That's it.
And remembering that leadership is a journey.
Not a destination.
There will be bumps in the road.
But keep moving forward.
Keep learning.
Keep striving.
It's inspiring, but also a little daunting.
What do you mean?
Like, I want to be this amazing leader.
Of course.
But how can I ever measure up to someone like Emperor Yao?
Well, remember, Emperor Yao is an archetype.
The ideal.
We don't have to be exactly like him.
Right.
It's about taking inspiration from his example.
Finding ways to apply those principles in our own lives.
In our own way.
So find our own path to leadership.
That's authentic to us, to our values.
Strive for excellence, not perfection.
Exactly.
And remember, even small acts matter.
Kindness, courage, integrity.
They can make a difference.
Create positive change.
It all comes back to the art of war.
In the end.
It's not just about military strategy.
It's a deeper exploration of leadership.
Of self-cultivation.
Of the power of virtue to shape our lives.
This deep dive has given me a lot to think about.
Me too.
We've learned about Emperor's reign.
Of cultivation.
The power of service and compassion in leadership.
And how it applies to all of us.
Not just the people at the top.
Right.
I'm feeling energized.
Oh, yeah.
Inspired.
Love it.
Ready to tackle part 3.
Let's go.
Back again for our deep dive into the art of war.
It's amazing how much we've covered.
It's just from one chapter.
Strategic wisdom, rise and fall.
We've talked about cycles of societies.
Uncovered secrets of Emperor Yao's leadership.
My mind is kind of blown, honestly.
It's been a wild ride, for sure.
So in this final part, I'm thinking about how this all connects back to us.
To our lives.
The world today. We've talked about these big ideas.
Virtue, compassion.
Self-cultivation.
Right.
But how do we actually live them?
It can feel overwhelming.
Totally.
Well, remember, Taigong isn't saying we all have to be emperors or saints.
All right.
He's saying these principles matter.
No matter who we are.
Exactly.
So it's not about being perfectly virtuous.
More about trying to be better.
Every single day.
Making choices that match our values.
Little acts of kindness.
Courage.
Integrity.
It all adds up.
Creates positive change.
A ripple effect.
It's about changing our mindset, right?
Oh, so.
Instead of what's in it for me, it's how can I make a difference?
Even a small one.
And recognizing that we can all be leaders.
Oh, absolutely.
Not just people with fancy titles.
Their families.
Workplaces. We can all inspire.
Lead.
Create positive change.
It's empowering, isn't it?
It is. Knowing we have that potential.
That's what Taigong is getting at.
Shaping our destinies. Together.
It's on us.
A call to action.
Step up.
Embrace our potential.
Create a world we believe in.
Do it with humility, knowing we'll mess up sometimes.
That's part of it.
The journey never ends.
Self-cultivation is ongoing.
Learning, growing, becoming better.
So as we wrap up this deep dive
into the art of war,
what do you hope listeners will take away?
From all this ancient wisdom.
I hope they feel a sense of hope.
Possibility.
That even though things are messy,
complicated,
we can make a difference.
By being better people.
Embracing our potential to lead.
Acting with integrity.
Compassion.
Creating a brighter future.
For everyone.
This deep dive has been eye-opening.
Glad to hear it.
I've got a new perspective on leadership. A deeper understanding of self-cultivation.
And you're ready to put it into practice.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us on this incredible deep dive into the art of war.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time. Keep seeking wisdom.
Keep growing.
And keep making a positive impact on the world.